Guyana's President Irfaan Ali, he is once again, speaking about regional food security, which that's what I appreciate. He's not just talking about Guyanese food security. He is, I believe, the Caribbean's head of a committee in the U.S. under the Biden administration to deal with the issue of food security, if I'm not mistaken. But with that said, this, I think, is just one of those hidden issues. Energy is one, yes. Food security is the other. And we take energy for granted, but we've been feeling the food security situation in TNT. And it's interesting that, Dr. Keith Rowley, our Prime Minister, he's in charge of the energy side of the relationship with CARICOM and the Caribbean and the U.S. And we seem to be all in on that. But the other areas, we were not necessarily following our fellow nations as closely, because I don't really see the follow-up or any sort of participation or any sort of acknowledgement of the Guyanese president's calls for the region needing to do something as a whole to help with its food security situation.
So now that I've actually calmed down expressing my frustrations with the issues of national security, this is raised, and it's another frustrating issue, simply because the problem that we have is not the conversation. The conversation, the dialogue has been on everybody's tongues for how many decades now? Yep. And Mohamed Irfaan Ali Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali, my apologies, has only made efforts to try and further this dialogue. The bigger issue are the regional heads, which is inclusive of Trinidad and Tobago, and implementation. If I were to take a microscopic view of TNT, I cannot name one major project, one major initiative, or any sort of thing that has been implemented to say we're heading in the right direction. Because, subsidies and grants available to farmers is all well and good. Don't get me wrong. Is that the be-all and end-all? Well, the Ministry of Agriculture seems to think so.
What I don't understand is, we're a twin island nation, and we don't take fishing. It seems as though fishing is is the red-headed stepchild of the red-headed stepchild that is the agricultural sector, right? It's the unfavored of the unfavored. We're an island nation, and we don't even necessarily look to try to get any sort of formal controls in place with regards to our fish stock and fish distribution. And to the point where now, I mean, we've had him on Talking Point, you've had him on AM Prime yesterday morning, or the Tobago official
folk, yesterday morning,
has to complain about the potential of Bajan fishermen overfishing Tobago waters. So it's interesting. You would have other coastal countries or island nations, fishing would be such a big part of their economy, such a big part of their food supply. But for us, it's just a drop in the bucket. Maybe we've overfished our waters or allowed others to overfish our waters. But, I mean, we don't even have any sort of, to my understanding, we don't have much of a deep sea fishing because there's a whole Atlantic Ocean out to the east. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a biologist nor fisherman, so I don't know what's available out there, but not everything has to be done with a pirogue. There's no large-scale operation here with fishing.
Forgive me for having to digress from your point. I mean, there's a possibility that very soon we might have to start consuming snails because at $5 a kilo, it turns out to be very cheap, right?
Or we might also very soon see Chinese fishing vessels come and call for our waters.
China is already in the process of building $1 billion fish processing plant in Guyana. So there is a possibility that
we'll
will
be
happen
seeing them
soon. But for a moment, also focus on the reality. The reality is that nothing is going to be done about the food import bill or trying to focus more on local products or local produce simply because who are the individuals with the power or those with the majority that import food here in TNT? We don't want to get them upset, do we?
I was now going to say, because we don't have a big donor that is a food manufacturer that I know of on that scale that could push back against other interests.
So the same company or the
push back.
The same company or or the same brand that is now producing steel pan here in Trinidad and Tobago, right? The Trinidad and Tobago Musical Instrument Company, if I'm not mistaken, that's what it's called. It's the same company that also heavily imports food, right? You do not want to get any, and no government would want to get on their bad side or get them upset, because it might be detrimental to their time in office or even them getting into office. And that's the fact of it. We're not going to do anything, and we have not taken it seriously, because guess what? We don't think about TNT overall. We don't look at the bigger picture. Our thinking has been concentrated on only a few benefiting.
Well, folks, I mean, I'll just say this. Where's the big fishing company? We don't have one. On an island nation, that's interesting.